In the talk of today, I hate to even repeat it, but I have to. Trump, billionaire loser. Trump Billionaire Losers Club. All right? So we're going to talk about that. To kick things off, let's go to a clip about Trump's billionaire loser thing that everyone's talking about today.
Trump and his Treasury Secretary refused to hand over the president's tax records to House Democrats. The New York Times has obtained a decade's worth of his tax information, and their findings are eye-popping, stunning. There's a lot of different adjectives you could use. Joining me is Suzanne Craig of the New York Times. She shares the byline of this breaking story. Decade in the red, Trump tax figures show over $1 billion in business losses. This is incredible in its scope and detail. Can you just lay out in your reporting, and again, it's on the New York Times, so people should go and read the full thing, but we're talking over $1 billion over a decade.
That's just for his core businesses. Every year that we looked at, he lost money, and the losses grew as he went further into the casinos and the losses that happened there. But it's unbelievable. We would have thought, at least in one of the years that we saw, maybe the year he wrote Art of the Deal, he would have made money. He didn't. He was just bleeding money every year that we looked at on his businesses.
In certain years, Donald Trump, according to your reporting, lost more than nearly any other individual taxpayer in the United States. Is that right?
Yeah, it's incredible because we had both his tax information and then we were able to compare it to a database of people who make a fair bit of money, and that was a 1/3 sampling, but even within that, he was often years was the largest number for losses in America. He lost.
So, I mean, the irony is
stunning.
He was actually the biggest loser, to use a term he would use if he was labeling somebody else.
If he was writing the headline at the New York Times, that would be it. It all kind of came to a head in 1990 when his casinos started to go bankrupt. But for years, we have thought that was sort of where it started, but now we know he just never made money in those years. And it was just it was shocking for us to see, and we led with it, that the year he wrote Art of the Deal, this master of the universe
which, by the way,
memoir,
written by
somebody else. But that year he lost tens of millions of dollars.
It's incredible. Is there any response from the president on this reporting?
They have, the information that we have is from an IRS transcript, and they're simply saying that the numbers in it, they're saying that they're wrong, but they have not provided us with any information about what is wrong. They've just said that the transcript is questionable.
All right. So Donald Trump, as you just heard, Donald Trump, there's some information obtained by the New York Times. New York Times ran an article where they're showing that Donald Trump may well have been the world's biggest loser when it comes to finances and regulation of one's business, and that Donald Trump didn't do such a great job in the 80s through the 90s? 84 to 95 or 85 to 94, something like that. That's where it's laid out. You can go read more about it on the New York Times website. And I sent out a tweet earlier in regards to this, and anybody who follows me on Twitter at RealTimBlack probably saw it. It's doing pretty well, getting a lot of retweets on it, a lot of likes, because the reality is 2 words. So what? So and what? So what? Like most of Americans, I sit here and wonder, why is this a conversation? What are we supposed to glean from this information? As an old saying goes, what does that got to do with the price of tea in China? What does this have to do with the price of tea in China? But what does it have to do with the price of my electric bill, my mortgage, my rent, my medication, my prescriptions, my college debt, the ability to stay indoors, my child daycare expenses? What does this have to do? What bearing does this have on the average person? Or factually, actually, anybody in America who's not in the media business or not employed by corporations who benefit from Donald Trump. I don't understand. Why should we give a flying duck? Why? I got a feeling if you went anywhere in America and you talk to working people, look, I live near D.C., okay? Worked in D.C. for 25 years. Got a lot of friends who work in D.C. They may care a little bit. They may care slightly, right? But the average person does not care. You know who really cares about this? The same media corporations who have been making billions of dollars themselves off of Donald Trump's name. It's ironic that MSNBC, who made $1 billion, at least $1 billion in the last election cycle, off of top of what they would normally make by repeatedly propping up Donald Trump. And let's keep it real. I did a little research and I realized that the MSNBC or NBC, the parent company of, who owns it? Tom Warner? Who owns NBC? I don't even know who owns it. These bastards have been giving Donald Trump a ride since 1980. Since the 80s. They've been propping up Donald Trump, making him famous, making money off of him, making money with him, using him, propelling him. You have driven his stardom. And then you say, oh no, the emperor has no clothes and we're supposed to be shocked. You know, the sickest thing about all of this is not that Donald Trump was able to make people think he made all of this money. It's that you helped him make it. And he helped you make money. All of these people act as if Donald Trump is the worst thing that happened to them. And every chance they get, all they do is talk about Donald Trump. All they do is further his brand. You created Donald Trump. The media has created Donald Trump, and now they want to help in tearing him down. But I'm so sorry. We have so many other things that we need to focus on. We can't all be focused on Donald Trump. So now you want to tell me Donald Trump is not the best businessman. I'm a black man from Washington, D.C. I don't have $1,000 to throw away. You mean to tell me I'm supposed to feel what kind of way about a guy who had $1 billion to throw away and never ever was homeless, didn't miss a meal, in fact, made it all back? The Democrats will do whatever they can try to do to get away from the reality that the economy is doing better right now. It's actually doing better. So how is this supposed to be an issue that destroys Donald Trump? I don't know, because people don't care about what the economy or how much money he made in the 80s. People care about how much money they're making now for their families today in 2019. No one cares how much Trump made 20 years ago, or if he lost money 20 years ago. This is an indictment on just what it means to be wealthy. How the wealthy can continue to fail and don't have to be the smartest and the brightest, but they get many at-bats. And us poor peasants get no at-bats, and we get demonized for losing the little bit that we have. Then we'll have some stupid ass talking about if you poor people would just stop buying tennis shoes, and if they would just stop getting their hair done, with not knowing anything about reality. Not getting it at all, that has no bearing on wealth. The wealth inequality is rampant in this country. And if you want a prime example of just how bad our inequality is, you look at the story of Donald Trump. That's really what this is about. That's what jumps out to me that makes this even relevant to discuss, is the fact that Donald Trump was allowed to be such a bad businessman. And still, he was able to hang in there until he got good, or until he was able to recoup. How many of you have been able to hang in there and recoup? And don't make this a partisan issue, because when the time came, we weren't getting bailed out for those bad foreclosures. We weren't getting bailed out for those bad paper that was written on all of those home loans, those mortgage adjustments on the arm that put a lot of people out of their homes, or Steve Mnuchin's One West Company.
Tonight we're in Fort Myers, Florida, and we're having a opportunity to take what are essentially vacant houses that have been sitting, foreclosed homes that have been sitting there with lenders, and turn these houses back into homes in the community here. Tonight we have 61 properties that we're going to be bringing across the auction block. With the current foreclosure process that's going on, it's nationally. For example, we're in Kansas City tonight having a property auction. We're here in Florida having a property auction. We'll be in Dallas tomorrow. So really all over the country.
Illegally foreclosing on thousands of homes. How much of a rebuilding freelance did you get to run? How much of us got to run around and just rebuild with no penalty and didn't get shows after shows and names on products? You want us to feel bad about Donald Trump? This is not going to do it. This is all politically motivated. New York Times and all of the corporate media is upset because they can't get Donald Trump's tax returns. So now we're going to go dig up some old 25-year-old tax returns and talk about those for a couple of news cycles. Meanwhile, that would be okay if there weren't so many other stories that should be discussed in this country. So many other things that are really going on that are vital and important to people, that matter to people. This does not. It doesn't matter. If anything, it shows they come from behind victory of Donald Trump. That's your president. That's your president. That's the guy who beat Hillary. That really should burn, shouldn't it? 2 words. So what? So what? Let's move, as the CBS said. Trump's bad for the country, but he's good for CBS. And that's all you've cared about from day one. And now we're supposed to all care about how bad Donald Trump was doing in the 90s, the early 90s. Sorry, we're too busy wondering if we can keep the roof overhead. We're too busy wondering if we will have enough money to take care of grandma. How are we going to find a way to take care of this college debt? We got people 40 years old, over 40, still paying their student loans. Still paying them. And you want us to be preoccupied. Who amongst us has the time to gallivant around and wonder about Donald Trump's financial situation from 20 years ago? It's like the people that are focused on the Kardashians. We do not have time to live through the eyes of another. We have to live through our own lives. Our news, this is a shame. Our news is turned into a reality show. We got a reality show president, and now we got a reality show news teams, reality show news organization, and reality show media. Then you wonder why people turn to independent news. Because maybe we don't sit around all day and talk about the frivolous things that don't matter to anyone at all. Someone said, Tim, well, we can chew gum and walk at the same time, inferring that we should be covering this stupid story about Donald Trump, 20-year-old story about his freaking taxes. Yeah, for 8 years he didn't pay taxes. Amazon's not paying them now. Amazon's not paying taxes now. Walmart's not paying taxes now. Do you care? No. You only care about Donald Trump because it's Donald Trump. And what he did 20 years ago doesn't affect what he's doing now. At some point, what's going to happen are the people are going to revolt. The people are going to get fed up upon fed up. They're going to get sick and tired of being sick and tired. And when that time happens, I know people are already cutting the cord at a rapid rate. But when that time happens, we're going to throw out all of corporate media. You build Donald Trump up. You sell him to us on your shows. You sold him to us on your shows. And then you want us to also sit around and be spectators as you tear him down. And in the meantime, we benefit not. Does that change the reality that 40% of our homeless people have jobs, but they can't afford to live indoors? Does it change the reality that 40% of black children live beneath the poverty line? Does it change the fact that over 100 people die off of opiates a day? That we incarcerate more people than any other country. We have 5% of the world's population with 20% of the world's prisoners. And you want me to wax poetic or to sit back like a vegetable, like a cantaloupe, drooling from the gums while you blabber about Trump's 25 euro taxes. You have all been Rachel Maddowized. Go F yourselves. I am not a sheep. I am a wolf.